Welcome back. This time round we're going to take a look at the VGA card that I've been building for the Z80 system. I was waiting on a couple of PAL, GAL, programmable logic device chips and a CRTC, and those arrived in the mail, so let's get into it. So this is one of the 6445 CRTC chips I was waiting for. Remains to be seen if it's a legit one, but well, we'll see. It appears to have the right markings on it. Something that is worthy of note, the notes on the website say that you need a CP4J variant of this chip, and as I was reminded when I asked this question online, and I should have noticed this from the data sheet, the J variant is just a higher temperature variant, which I don't actually need. And in hindsight, if you look at the image on the website and zoom in, they don't have a 4J chip either, they're just using a CP4. So that's what I've sourced. Looking at the bottom of the chip though, there's a pin here that's a little bit wayward, so we'll straighten that one. And there's another one up in the top left-hand corner that needs a little bit of a tweak as well. So we'll tweak that. I don't know if these ICs are new or whether they've been pulled from something. Or, you know, these pins could have just got a bit of a knock during shipping. They were just packed in a static bag, or it could be from pulling them out of an existing board. Not sure. Right, so we'll drop the CRTC in. It goes that way. Get it lined up and pushed in. Hopefully that went all right. Okay, so we've got the two GAL chips, PALs, GALs, whatever you want to call them, to program. Now, it says here on the web page that we should have ATF 16V8 BQLs. Couldn't get BQLs, I could only get 16V8Bs, but in the right speed. So I'm hoping that the QL, and I can't remember the difference now, part of it was to do with low power operation. But I can't remember in fact it says there the BQL suffix is the lowest power version. Well, couldn't get that. So I got what I think is going to be fairly close. So yeah, so let's fire up our Mini Pro thing. I've got it plugged in. We want PAL, GAL, CPLD, Atmel, what did I say, it was 16V8. So that will do. We've got two of these to do. We'll load, we'll do the VGA, the cell SEL. So we've got that one. I haven't done one of these before, so I'm assuming the defaults are going to be okay. Program. And we'll drop one of the ICs here into the Mini Pro. Whoops, out by one pin. Put that in. And we'll click, I just undid the lock bit in the user interface, and we'll program it. And it is doing the thing, and programming successful. Okay, so that's programmed. We take that out, and I might just give it a bit of a squeeze in my chip cruncher just to bring the legs in. That particular programmable device goes right here, and in we go with that one. So now we've got the other one. Drop that one in the programmer, and obviously the image that goes on this one is different. Go back to our software, still the right chip. We'll load the ENB JED file and program. And this is the lock bit I turned off last time. I think, I could be wrong, but I think the lock bit might stop us from reprogramming it, and I don't want to do that. Or it may stop us from retrieving the programming information back off it. Don't care about that either. Anyway, program. And we're done. So we'll pull that out. Give his legs a crunch. And he goes over here. And in he goes. Right. So now we've got some jumpers and things to look at. So I'll have to do a quick bit of reading on that, and then we'll come back and we'll set those. Okay, so as far as the jumpering, I couldn't find a lot of good information on the project page. I mean, there was a test program suite that had some notes about jumper settings, and there were other notes about jumper settings, but nothing conclusive. So at least as a starting point, I'm going to copy the jumper settings that are on the project page. There's a photo of the completed card, and I'll copy the settings that are on that. So our vertical sync, we have a jumper on positive. Our negative sync, we have a jumper on, our horizontal sync we have on negative. And then we have on our address pins, we just have a jumper there. Now, from what I read, when you're using it with a Z80 system, you just put a jumper on any address pin to disable like the auto select of memory addresses. I think the address is more to do with systems that have more RAM that can access the video memory directly instead of via the registers on the CRTC. So hopefully we'll be right. And then on the I/O pins, we have pins down this end, and then we have just our reset pin that I'm going to set to the N8 position because I'm not using the Contron reset on any of my cards. So in theory, for video at least, that should work. So the next thing to do is going to be to put the card in the machine, power it on, and see what happens. Okay, so the machine's turned off. Get our completed video card. We'll put it in the next available slot, which it has to go in because it's the only other slot on the back plane that's actually got a card edge connector. I haven't populated all the slots. Push that home. In it goes. Dug out a little monitor here, so we'll just find, it's not that one. Find the VGA cable. Plug that in. So now we should be right to turn it on. See if we get any sparks. No sparks. I'll just jump on the serial console and see what it's doing. And we have, it's just booted up into the Z system. So I'm sitting at an A prompt. But on the screen, we now have a signal, and we've got a block up in the corner. Now, I did obviously build a new BIOS with support for the VGA card. That looks a little bit like this. The config directory, and we go down to VGA. So this is this section here. So VGA enable I set to true, and the VGA size I set to 80 by 25. You can go 80 by 30 and 80 by 43, but I thought 80 by 25 is probably best for compatibility with whatever software I might want to run. So that's what I went with. And as you can see up there, I built an image, transferred it to the machine, and installed it before I put the card in. I can also tell the machine, I believe in the BIOS, to use the VGA at boot instead of the serial port. And that might be what I do next. Although I might plug a PS2 keyboard in and see if that works. Because I don't know if that might only work if I'm using the VGA as the console though. But yeah, we'll have a play. Okay, so I've just plugged a PS2 keyboard in. It's not doing anything on the VGA monitor, and it's not doing anything on the serial console, which is not overly surprising. From the serial session though, let me just reboot it, just in case the keyboard's only detected at boot time. I doubt that's the case. I reckon it's more the case that I'm going to have to tell it to use it and to use the serial as the console. Yeah, no, that's what I thought. So let's have a look at that. We'll go back into our config file. And where do you do it? I had a funny feeling it was up towards the... Is there a console? Oops. Boot console device. Right. Activate CRT VGA. Good question. I don't know if that applies to the VGA card, but we'll try it. Let's give that a go. So we'll make that SBC Bob. You've seen me do this a bazillion times. SBC Bob.update. And then we go back to our Z80. Tell it to boot. Then we go into our ROM. Oops. X. You do update utility, begin update, transfer, send X modem, downloads, and we'll send our new BIOS image. Right, there's our new ROM, so go reboot, and we'll jump over to look at the monitor, see what it does. Ha, look at that, CRT console, there we go. So we go, right, so my keyboard's still not working. Okay, so looking at this a little bit more, this keyboard issue, I can see during boot that it's saying keyboard IO equals E0 not present. And if I have a look at the source code for the keyboard driver, which is the initialization in here, we can see we're sending a self-test command to the keyboard controller. We're expecting to get a particular response back. We're not getting it. So either my 8242 is not working or there's something wrong with the circuitry surrounding the 8242. That's my understanding of what it's doing here. It's talking to the 8242. I don't think it's going to be a keyboard issue. I think what it's telling me is it's not seeing the keyboard controller. So I need to do a little bit more digging around that. So that might be something for a second video on this card, because I reckon that's going to take a little bit of digging to sort out. So yeah, we might pull the pin on this one here, yeah, I'll take that offline and come back with a second video describing what I found for that one. Well, so close and yet so far. We've got the console working on the VGA, but not the keyboard. So yeah, I'll take that offline, do a little bit more research into what's going on there, because it appears that the BIOS can't talk to the 8242 keyboard controller. So either I've got a dud chip, or maybe I need to program the chip. I don't think so. Or maybe there's something wrong in the surrounding circuitry. But anyway, I'll almost certainly do a second video on that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Didn't quite get to where I wanted to get with a completely working card, but we'll get there. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, feel free to tap that like button. Costs nothing to do it, and it helps the algorithm recommend the video to other people. Got any suggestions on how I can make this keyboard work, or if you've had this problem before, please drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear some suggestions. And yeah, other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.